Welcome to Unexpected Heroes podcast that sheds light on interesting people around the world. So today we are here in Tokyo, Japan.
At the Indian Embassy.
Yes. So you remember today's guest, right? Not like last time.
I think it's the ambassador of India to Japan, His Excellency H.E.Sibi George.
Correct.
I got it right.
Correct.
I got it
yes,
right.
You got it right.
Oh, thank
So shall we?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you so much for making that. I know you're a very busy man. Thank you.
And nice. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Finally, we're able to do this together.
Yes.
Please.
Please sit here.
So today we have a special guest, the Indian ambassador to Japan, His Excellency H.E.Sibi George. Welcome to our channel. Thank you so much for coming.
Mayo-san and me, Harry-san, we're very excited to meet with you again. You are the first person to appear on our podcast in Japan. We actually, in fact, interviewed Suzuki-san, the ambassador, in Delhi just 2 weeks ago. And so this is the first in Japan. We did the first in India. So it's going to be a very interesting partnership. And our podcast is called Unexpected Heroes. And the idea for this is to interview interesting people in India and Japan and beyond. So a hero is a person who is admired by many people for doing something brave or good. And thus, an unexpected hero therefore means somebody who is a hero who was not expected to be one, unforeseen, or a surprising person.
This is from what? This is from Wikipedia or is it from...
The Oxford English Dictionary.
Okay, good.
We put these two words together. So Maya-san and I operate in India and Japan, and we want to do this podcast so that more people will know about Japan and India, all around India and Japan, as well as the world. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to receive both of you to the Indian Embassy and very happy to participate in your program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we have a few questions. I know you're busy. You were also in another meeting, and I'm sure there's another meeting to follow. But I wanted to start off by asking, interesting people change the world is a favorite quote of ours. Ambassador, what are your thoughts on this phrase? And are there any interesting people you know worthy of mention? And how do you think these interesting people could impact the world we live in?
See, let me focus on India and Japan as I represent India in Japan. I have been here in Japan now for more than a year, almost going to be a year and a half. And in my duty here, I had the great pleasure of traveling in this beautiful country all across.
Right.
In fact, in my 1 year, I traveled to 44 prefectures of the 47 prefectures. Wow. And everywhere I went, I was received with so much of warmth and love. When you talk about interesting people, in each of these prefectures, as I saw in Tokyo, I met with interesting people.
Right.
So it is not one or two people,
Amazing.
It is several of them. And each one of them have contributed in building India-Japan relationship.
Amazing.
It could be in a very small town in a prefecture far from Tokyo. I have seen people over the years working hard in building this relationship. These are the interesting people who bring in change in our relationship, and I salute them for their contribution spanning over several years.
Fantastic. That's your Japan bit. Are there any interesting people that Japanese people should meet in your country in India?
See, when I talk about India-Japan relationship, it is both ways. I have mentioned about the warmth with which I was received in Japan everywhere. I am confident that it would be the same warmth with which every Japanese traveling to India will be received. You would agree with me that you have felt the same feeling at every level when you met Indians. In fact, I recall some of the recent surveys which was conducted in India, which says that Indians really like Japan as a very friendly country. We have what we call today a special strategic and global partnership. The word special is very important.
Yes.
Why is it special? You take any countries. India-Japan relationship is special because, one, we have no history of conflict. We have history of friendship. And we see that this friendship continue to grow everywhere. It is a special relationship. And people on both sides, many interesting people, and people to people connect. This is something special, and I feel it every day in my stay in Japan.
Right. So I think you've actually really stated it very well. It's kind of like interesting people in Japan meeting interesting people in India, and this special relationship is further set to grow stronger and stronger.
Absolutely.
Beyond having interesting people and warm people in India and Japan, what do you think is the similarity between India and Japan, in your opinion?
You travel in this country, you will see an India connect everywhere.
Yes.
Daikokuten, Mahakal.
Yes.
The connect is quite old, civilizational connect. Same thing we see, Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha is one of the most loved and respected gods in Japan. Same goddess Saraswati. I remember traveling to Hiroshima, and there in a temple, I was very happy to hear Om Saraswate Namaha is being recited every day. So there is that civilizational connect, there is that cultural connect, and then comes the cultural connect of Buddhism. It started in India, it came to Japan, and we can see it everywhere.
Right.
So I see that civilizational connect between our two countries, which spans over thousands of years, and I can see an India connect with Japan wherever we go.
Wonderful.
And this civilizational and cultural connect makes us as civilizational neighbors. You know, we hear people saying, no, India is very far. India is not very far. Our forefathers thousands of years ago traveled. If it is very far, they don't travel. No, they travel. So we have a civilizational connect which makes us civilizational neighbors.
Right.
And then subsequently we see that we also became economic neighbors.
Right.
When our companies started connecting each other, and we see it. There are 1,500 Japanese companies in India. Almost every major Japanese company has a presence in India. And I recall that recently a survey conducted by JBIC says that almost 90% of these companies want to expand in India. Right. So this makes us economic neighbors. And now we are also strategic neighbors. We face common challenges, and we are working together to address that common challenges in Indo-Pacific and beyond, not only bilaterally, but even through plurilateral mechanisms like the Quad.
Right.
And then comes the most important one, the people-to-people connect.
Right.
Where comes the cuisines, the
Food,
dress, the food,
the drink,
everything matters.
Okay.
I haven't heard a Japanese saying that I don't like Indian food. Everyone, right from the people.
There's hundreds of restaurants now.
There are thousands.
Thousands
actually.
of restaurants. Yes.
Thousands of Japanese restaurants. I mean, Indian restaurants. And I made it a point that when I travel to a prefecture, I not only try the food of that prefecture, but I also try the Indian food in the restaurant.
Right.
Because I strongly believe that food, cuisine, is something which has the great connecting factor between our two countries.
Right.
There are thousands of Indian restaurants in Japan, but there is misconception kind of that Indian food is all about big naan and curry. And I feel like we can change it because there are so many variety of Indian food in each state, and it's beautiful. But those are not quite introduced yet in Japan.
You know, India has a diverse culture. It applies in terms of culture, in terms of food, in terms of dress, you name it. Okay. In Japan, traditionally, it was the North Indian food of naan, which was widely spread. But there is also presence of other Indian food here already available. You travel to any part of Japan, you will now start seeing there are more and more Indian restaurants serving multiple variety of Indian food. It's available. As mentioned, I traveled. And wherever I go, I see that it is not just naan and curry. It is also other things, including my favorite dosa is available in many places. So things are changing. That means Japanese are exploring more of India and find it more interesting.
So just moving on a little bit, because obviously, I don't know when you started, when you were a student, did you think you would become ambassador one day?
That is a very interesting question. I definitely wanted to study well and join the government if I qualify for that. And when I attempted to join the government, I was fortunate enough that I got into the government service, and that too it is one of the most interesting service of the Indian Foreign Service. So I am very happy that I joined the Indian Foreign Service, which gives an opportunity for any diplomat to travel all across the world, work with governments, people, business, and everyone concerned to build our relationship at bilateral and multilateral level. You have seen that India's connectivity with the world has changed and it has transformed. Today, India is connecting with the world more effectively. Let me give you an example. Any forum you take, what does India bring to the table? India bring to the table what we call 1/7 of the total population of the world. The largest democracy in the world, fastest growing large economy in the world, youngest population in the world, and the digital infrastructure we have seen. So many things India bring to the table which is very useful for the world. We bring 1/7 of the population of the world, but not 1/7 of the problems of the world. We bring solutions to the table which makes India special for the world.
I think that really brings me nicely onto this question of what is the message to the youth of Japan and India. I mean, you are representative of your country, you are interacting with hundreds and thousands of people in your long career. What message should you send to Japanese and Indian youth?
Today, we are living in a world which is a multilateral world. And in this, two countries which plays very important role for the future of the world, it is India and Japan. Both democratic countries, both share special relationship. The youth of these two countries have a very important role to play to maintaining that hope for the world. You have seen during the G20 meetings that India chaired last year. In a divided world where there are multiple problems, when it came to the G20 summit, we were able to bring everyone on table and come up with a joint statement, a joint declaration, the Delhi Declaration, which was, I would say, a declaration of hope for the world. And it is for the youth to make sure that we continue to play that important role, our two countries, to build that world of hope for the benefit, not only for India and Japan, but for the entire humanity. The youth have a role to play. That is why I want to increase the number of Indian students in Japan. You know, India has more than 1 million students studying abroad every year. At given point of time, 1.2 million Indian students study abroad. But the number of Indian students in Japan is only 1,500. Japan has some of the good universities. It is important that we connect more. I would like to have more Indian students to come and study in Japanese university and then also to work here. There is opportunity. But we need to work together to make sure that, one, there is an awareness about this. Second, this opportunity is converted into actual, the people to take that opportunity and work on it. So India as an economy, growing economy, offers huge opportunity for Japanese business. 1,500 I mentioned, 1,500 Japanese companies in India. I would like that to become 15,000 Japanese companies. I am very happy to see that more and more Japanese companies are now moving towards India. It applies to big companies as well as small and medium scale companies. I see the number of queries and letters I receive from the small and medium scale companies seeking our support and assistance in engaging with India is growing. So I see a lot of these companies are actually driven by the youth. So when you talk about youth to youth connect, this is one area. I receive in the embassy every week youth delegation, both from Japan and from India. People who want to go to India to explore and to engage. Similarly, students and youth coming from India to engage with Japan. There was a youth delegation of startup. I was very happy to engage with them. This is an opportunity, and we are seeing that the youth are getting connected more and more closely today.
So when the startups, the youth make inquiry to the embassy, I believe they are seeking support, they are having some problems, right? So which kind of problems are there, and how the embassy can support them, or how do you advise them?
The big companies, 1,500 of them, they are able to establish well because they are big companies. So small and medium scale companies need to identify a partner in India. They need to know the rules and regulations. They need to know the tax system. They need to know how to engage with the companies in India. So they need some kind of support. What I have done here is that I have set up a SME cell in the embassy, exclusively an officer, and his team is looking at SMEs. My target this year is a bit ambitious, I would say, to reach out to 100,000 SMEs in Japan. 100,000 SMEs in Japan. 90% of Japanese companies are SMEs. They are part of the supply chain. They are part of the ecosystem. I imagine, I would visualize, I would dream of a day that many of them move to India to be part of the supply chain. This is very important, and I am hopeful that we would be able to connect well with the SMEs and connect them with India.
A bit of a topic change, but you have been here for 1.5 years. Was there any cultural shock in Japan that you're surprised?
As a diplomat, we are trained and I would say the training is quite a rigorous process where we get trained. And that trains us quite well to adapt to any new situation. So I recall with all gratitude and appreciation for the kind of training that I got during my initial years as a diplomat, that makes us fit to adapt to any situation. Secondly, I'm not new to Japan. I was engaged with India-Japan relationship 20 years back. I was the Deputy Secretary dealing with Japan in Ministry of External Affairs for almost 4 years in 2000. And I have seen how India-Japan relationship evolved over the years. A relationship which was more government-to-government relationship based on ODA, later has evolved into become a B2B relationship, and then it has evolved further into a strategic relationship. In fact, I was part of this evolution when our relationship transformed from a G2G relationship. Of course, G2G is still very important. We have 72 dialogue mechanisms, from the annual summit to several joint working group which we work together. But this relationship is transformed, and it is now ready to take it to new levels when we celebrate this year the 10th anniversary of Special Strategic and Global Partnership which we signed in 2014.
10 years already.
It is 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And this year is special. This year is also special because I am celebrating this year as the India-Japan Year of Tourism, connecting Himalayas with Mount Fuji. Last week, we have organized a major yoga festival at Mount Fuji. Again, the theme, connecting Himalayas with Mount Fuji.
So, Ambassador, you've been talking about history, you've been talking about adaptability, and you've been talking about increased cooperation, understanding between our two cultures. Talking about yourself, maybe in Japan or India, who have been the most influential people in your life who's inspired you to help you on your journey as a diplomat here?
When you look at India, what comes to your mind first?
For me, Mother Teresa.
Okay. For me, the common man of India. You know that little man and woman who works hard every day in the field, in the schools, in the factories, they keep India.
Right.
I would say undercurrent of that feeling that you are part of that India where 1.4 billion people work together for a developed India. The vision, the dream. This is what...
The common man of India.
The common man of India.
And woman of India.
Yes. That is what, keeps us...
I think it's beautiful.
Proud. We are proud of that common man. A civilization of 5,000 years, continuous civilization, we are proud. And who keeps that civilization growing every day? It is that common man in every village of India. And that is a great strength for the country.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very
very
beautiful.
much. Thank you.
India-Japan relationship is evolving, and economically yes, diplomatically yes, and also culturally yes. So I watch a lot of Indian movies, but the Indian movies is really getting popular in Japan, and vice versa. The Japanese animation is also getting very popular in India, but still there could be more.
Let me first of all thank you for the role you are playing in building that cultural connect. I have seen that RRR movie, your dance, which was very interesting. Which was very interesting. I'm sorry, I can't dance. I'm not a...
You can try.
But I was very happy to see that the connect in Bollywood and also in the film industry which is happening. Let me share something with you. Recently, I had gone to Hokkaido during the snow festival because an Indian movie is being filmed there, a major movie which is going to come out very soon. So let's wait for that to see. I'm sure that it would be going to be a great hit connecting India and Japan at the film industry field. Second, as you said, there is a huge connect between the two countries in terms of film industry. Indian movies and Indian songs are music is very popular. I have a cultural center here, the Vivekananda Cultural Center. Last year, I have distributed certificates to 400 Japanese who learned Indian dance, Indian music, Indian tabla, and 400 of them. That means it's quite popular and it is growing. And Indian melas are happening all across Japan. I attended one recently in Fukuoka. Yes.
I was actually dancing Orisi after your speech. I couldn't show up for the speech because I was doing makeup and all, but I was listening backstage.
It was a good event, I'm told that thousands of people came there for that. There is an India festival which happens Namaste India, which happens every year in Japan. I'm told that hundreds of thousands of people come for that. Then Kobe Mela, again Indian Mela. So all across Japan, this is happening. So, and I'm very happy to see that most of the people who come forward are the Japanese friends. It is not an Indian community-driven event. It is a Japanese-driven events happening all across Japan, which shows the liking and the love and the affection we have for each other's and our culture. So that brings me to a very important point, the number of Indians in Japan. It is small. I see a huge opportunity there again for Indians to come and work in Japan. The number is very small. We need to expand it. 40,000 is not the number. We should have 400,000 Indians in Japan to start with. Why not? I think your message, the way you connect with the people will definitely help us to have more Indians to look at Japan and come here and work here and connect with the country.
I like your point about all of us have a role to play.
Absolutely.
As interesting people, whether the common man or you or Mayo-san or myself or anybody, I think it's exciting to see the next 5, 10, 20 years. It would be very interesting to see the development, the evolution of Japan-India relations.
Let me give you an example. When I went to these prefectures, I connected with a lot of people. They were all enthused to see India's Chandrayaan mission. Everybody was talking about it. They were so happy to see that India, with its own technology, indigenous technology, has been able to send a mission to the moon. We have excellent cooperation between India and Japan in that, in the space. JAXA and ISRO are working together. But this mission was appreciated by everyone. I can assure you, on that day, the talking point in the table topic of every household in Japan was India.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I have seen that. So that is what I am looking at. We talk more at official level, but I would like to see that table topic on a dinner table in every Japanese household becomes India and Japan. That is the day when I would say that my diplomatic mission has met its target. And then I would like to convert that into more business, more engagement, more Indian students in Japan, more Japanese students in India, more university connect, more people-to-people connect, and our relationship continue to contribute for a very stable, peaceful Indo-Pacific.
Thank you, Ambassador, for
Thank
such
you very
a
much.
wonderful conversation. And I hope that you keep on inspiring all of us, as well as the youth and the common man of Japan and of India. Thank you so much.
I am very happy to meet both of you. Wish you a very successful year 2024 ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございま
Thank you.
した。
Thank you.